Alright, the Lakers officially did it. They're waiving Jordan Goodwin with Shake Milton to free up the space needed to sign Marcus Smart. You know, we talked about this and the options they had to maybe create that room for Marcus Smart. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, they're capped by the first apron and therefore have to stay under the first apron. That's a payroll amount set at roughly $195.9 million for next season. Prior to waiving Shake Milton, their payroll is set at roughly $195 million. After waiving Shake Milton, they then had $3.9 million of space below it, but they needed more than $5.1 million, aka the biannual exception which they have offered to Marcus Smart, to then be able to sign Marcus Smart and stay below that first apron. So after waiving Shake Milton, which was step number 1 for them, then they had the option to either waive Jordan Goodwin, which they obviously went with here, or to maybe make a trade and free up space that way. And well, I think they maybe tried to do that, given the fact that they didn't immediately waive Jordan Goodwin with Shake Milton. At least they took about half a day to maybe explore the trade market. Some reports said that they are thinking about trading Dalton Knecht, maybe a guy like Maxi Kleber or Gabe Vincent with Dalton Knecht to free up that space. And you know, I wouldn't be entirely opposed to it if they found the right trade and the right trade worth making, especially if you're talking about trading Dalton Knecht. Then it might have been a viable pathway for them and possibly to address their other remaining need, that being a 3-and-D wing, a true proven 3-and-D option that actually could have addressed that need for them. And while they kind of filled it with Marcus Smart, or will be filling it, now they have not officially signed him quite yet. They have to wait until Wednesday for him to clear waivers, which will be at roughly 5 PM Eastern time. So they kind of wait between now and then to officially sign Marcus Smart, and I thought they might take that full time to maybe explore the trade market. You know, again, they took maybe half a day here to do it and obviously had no luck with it, but I thought they might wait until that point to waive Jordan Goodwin. I mean, we're talking about a guy that was a rotation player for their team last season, a guy that head coach JJ Redick really liked. He talked very highly of him and pretty much immediately had him enter the rotation upon being a 2-way contract for their team, and after that point, it didn't take long to elevate him to a standard contract, even playing a little bit in the playoffs for their team. You know, not much, I think a grand total of roughly 40 minutes in the playoffs, but was a part of the rotation for both that and for their post-trade deadline team after trading for Luka Doncic. Was a key piece for it, playing roughly 19 minutes per game, averaging about 5.5 points per game, 4 rebounds per game, which is incredibly impressive as a 6'3" or maybe 6'4" combo guard, translating to roughly 8 of them per 36 minutes. So you're not going to find a better rebounding guard than Jordan Goodwin, or a more defensive-minded guard with that. Definitely was a good defensive pest for their team, defending point guards, shooting guards, even occasionally some small wing players, and he had some pretty good success with it, being a defensive pest out there, averaging roughly 2 steals per 36 minutes, having a plus 0.8 defensive BPM rating with their team, being one of their better and actually more true 3-and-D options post-trade deadline. So I definitely wanted them to keep him if they could have, and if they found the right trade to free up a roster spot and free up enough space to not only sign Marcus Smart but also be able to keep Jordan Goodwin. Though unfortunately for me, and unfortunately for those of us that want him to stay with their team, that won't be happening. Like I said, they have officially waived him, waiving his partially guaranteed contract, which was mostly non-guaranteed. Of his $2.3 million salary for next season, only $25,000 was actually guaranteed, so that will give them the necessary space to sign Marcus Smart, giving him that biannual exception amount, the full amount, $5.1 million for this season, roughly $5.5 for next season. They are now able to give that to Marcus Smart and therefore complete their team if they want to. After that point, it is back up to 15 with 2 two-way contracts, maybe 3 of them if they officially sign Christian Koloko, but after signing Marcus Smart, this is their filled out 15-man roster. Now, I mean, they could make a trade after this point. They have trade assets left, whether you're talking about Dalton Knecht, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, their 2031 first-round draft pick, even if you want to go really far with it, Rui Hachimura and or Austin Reeves. So yes, they could make a trade, but in regard to free agency, the buyout market, the money they have left to spend, this is pretty much what they have done and pretty much what they have to work with and what they have to show for it too. Signing DeAndre Ayton, signing Jake LaRabia, bringing back Jackson Hayes, and now completing it by signing Marcus Smart, which is definitely very impressive given that they got them without giving up a single trade asset. Yes, they did have to lose Dorian Finney-Smith to get them. Him walking actually freed up their non-taxpayer mid-level exception, which they then put toward both Jake LaRavia and DeAndre Ayton. also having enough room to then sign Jackson Hayes to a slight pay increase, and be able to fit Marcus Smart in there with the biannual exception. So not giving up a single trade asset, still having Dalton Connect, still having Hachimura, Reeves, their 2031 future first round draft pick, their 4 future first round draft pick swaps, a tradable second round draft pick. They still have all of that. If they want to make another trade now or wait till the trade deadline, they do have the ability to do that, even while still being able to sign Marcus Smart, so definitely an A+ so far for Rob Pelinka, which I think we kind of forget to give him credit for here. You know, again, the fact that he got all of them without giving up an asset and pretty much doing it all in the background, waiting for contract buyouts and definitely having the intel that they would get bought out and securing an agreement with them prior to them hitting the open market. That's some pretty savvy and sneaky work by Pelinka here that he's probably not going to get enough credit for. I mean, I'm definitely not the biggest Rob Pelinka fan in the world, but up until this point, all I've seen from Laker fans, and especially Lakers Twitter, which is definitely a pretty volatile place, is that Rob Pelinka's done absolutely nothing. Even after he signed both Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton, brought back Jackson Hayes, and not to mention trading up to get a Duke Hero in the NBA draft, people still said that he did absolutely nothing, that the moves fell into his lap and did not give him any credit for it, that he simply was a mouthpiece of their team, and that he didn't really make the moves, they came to him, he didn't go to them. I think we can finally put that to rest here. I mean, following another contract buyout signing, that being Marcus Smart, obviously is doing something here, even if you want to factor in the help given by Luka Doncic, which actually was confirmed by Shams Charania, him saying that Luka has been helping recruit for their team, kind of indicating a positive relationship with Rob Pelinka and the entire Lakers front office for that fact, so I guess even more brownie points to Rob Pelinka there for that, and likely a good indicator that they will be able to sign Luka to a new contract later in August here, officially being eligible for one on August 2nd, so stay tuned for that I guess. But whether you want to credit Luka Doncic, that's also crediting Rob Pelinka, him signing DeAndre Ayton and Marcus Smart, the 2 biggest players in the buyout market apart from Bradley Beal, who they really had no chance to get to begin with in my opinion. So that's definitely a pretty good indicator for Pelinka doing something in the background, getting the deals done with both of them, and definitely filling 2 gigantic needs to their team while doing it. But before I go on too big of a tangent about that, yes, they did have to waive Jordan Goodwin. I think it was a pretty big loss, I guess. You know, not a huge loss obviously, but a decent hit to their rotation, a decent hit to their backcourt depth, and one of their few two-way players from last season. You know, whether or not Goodwin could have maintained that 3-point shooting is up for debate here. If we're going by simply 3-point shooting to qualify for a 3-and-D player and the defense that's required of it, he was probably one of maybe 2 3-and-D players on their team last season. The other one being Dorian Finney-Smith, who they also lost and he walked from their team too. So now looking at guys like Jake LaRavia, Gabe Vincent, Marcus Smart, Rui Hachimura even, maybe even a Duke Hero or Dalton Connect, they gotta step up and be the new 3-and-D or 2-way role players to their team off the bench or simply in their rotation in general. However, I really did like Jordan Goodwin. Really can't give the guy enough props after kind of being forgotten about in the NBA, having to sign a G League contract with their team last season. Yes, he did play with the South Bay Lakers prior to being brought up to their team, and definitely had to go through the grind to get back to the NBA, was kind of written off and wasn't cared about, wasn't even given a 2-way contract until late last season by the Lakers, so for him to go from that to now the way that he played with their team and unfortunately having to be waived by their team to sign Marcus Smart, I don't think it'll take long for him to get another opportunity. Again, after shooting that well with their team, after playing the defense they play with their team, the rebounding they did, and simply the energy and effort they brought to their team, I would probably guess that it'll take less than 48 hours for a different team to pick him up, even that he'll probably have a choice between a few teams, so best of luck to Jordan Goodwin. Definitely enjoyed having him on the team. Obviously a necessary loss to get a guy like Marcus Smart, who is a former Defensive Player of the Year, and giving them a more proven option in their backcourt, but definitely will miss Jordan Goodwin too. With that being said though, what do you guys think? Do you think it was a necessary thing for them to do to waive Jordan Goodwin? Would have you maybe tried harder to make a trade? Would have you tried to trade Dalton Connect with a guy like Maxi Kleber and or Gabe Vincent to make that trade and get far enough under the first apron to both sign Marcus Smart and be able to keep Jordan Goodwin while doing it? Would you have rather done that, or are you fine with them waiving Jordan Goodwin and simply taking the easy pathway to sign Marcus Smart? Let me know your thoughts and how you feel about all of that in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.